Hi, I'm Jack Grimmer at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the Wycombe Wanderers Show. More on how and why Jack's introducing the show, especially with it being Burns night, later on this hour. But first, you're very welcome, and in this hour we'll be bringing you our match preview with Phil, briefing, which is a sort of preview, and we'll look back on Tuesday night's unfortunate, let's call it that, defeat up at Wigan, where an incident involving the referee and a bang on the head and a fourth official and a fourth replacement official meant there were around 20 minutes extra played, in which time, unfortunately, the hosts, Wigan Athletic, scored, adding to more... What was that?
Shh, nothing.
Okay. Thought I had the radio on. Yes, so we'll be reflecting on that and hearing from the manager post-match up at the DW Stadium as well. Phil will bring us more on that and look ahead to the visit of Fleetwood Town, who are the bottom team in League One, on Saturday as well. Lots more to cover this hour as well, including news about benches. We've got a departure from the club announced this week, who we wish all the best in returning to his former club as well. We'll speak to a former Wycombe Wanderers player from the 60s when times were better, and we'll also bring you news about the new green strategy and some details also about a withdrawal from the Berks and Bucks Senior Cup due to fixture congestion. I think that's everything. Oh, no, I've forgotten. We'll also be chatting to Wycombe Wanderers Women midfielder Kine Andersen as well, who's been on the show before, and we'll be catching up with her. She's studying to be a physiotherapist. I nearly said paramedic. No, we've begins with P, sort of. No, it definitely does. And we got some language help as well. She's from Norway, by the way, in case you wondered what the connection is there. It'll be fun. That's coming up a bit later on, and we'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield, who spoke to Phil a little earlier on today in the press session as well. I think that covers everything. Yes, possibly some extra bits too, if we've got time. But first, let's hear from Phil after, that very disappointing and, let's call it disastrous end to Tuesday night's game up at Wigan, losing 1-0 with all that extra time as well.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, the late winner. A real choker, to be honest, and it's becoming it is a real problem because there's several points now that have been dropped from this position. You know, both to lose games or be pegged back to draw games that Wycombe were leading. You know, it was a difficult night for football for both teams. A game of very, very few chances. I think Wigan maybe had one clear-cut chance in the game before they scored right at the end, and Wycombe had one at the very start of injury time with Richard Kone, which was a great save by the keeper. But, you know, as I say, same for both sets of teams. It looked to be what would have been, I think, a good point on the road, ground out. But yeah, real heartbreak at the end. Wycombe had defended so well up to that point. You know, and it was a cross to the back post and a great finish by the guy, but which is scant consolation, especially for the 160 odd who travelled up to see it in horrible conditions as well, against the travel warning. So yeah, not the best night at all, really, to be honest. And the 20 odd minutes of injury time, it's because of the referee having a concussion. And that's why there's so much added on. But again, same for both teams. And you know, we'd spoken, hadn't we, in the previous weeks about stamping out on the conceding of late goals, and it's come back again. And obviously, after the game, Matt Bloomfield was quite down about it.
Yeah, really, obviously disappointed and frustrated again at another point that's got away from us. I actually felt like we were in the ascendancy in the later stage of the games. We brought on fresh legs, and I felt like it had the desired effect. Looked like we were threatening. Richards had a very good chance. We've actually played the majority of that last period of game in our opponent's half. The boys are distraught in there to give away a point in the manner of which we did.
The Kone chance was the best chance of the game, and the ricochet afterwards, it just looked like we just needed that to roll our way. That little bit of luck, perhaps.
Yeah, I guess, in life you make your own luck, so we've got to keep working hard, and it's obviously a good chance. And then the ricochet could easily roll in the back of the net. It's the best chance of the game. But Rich is a great boy. He's gonna be a real good player for us, and we're delighted to have him. So fair play to him for being so young and getting in those areas. He's got a real instinct of landing on things like that, and that'll pay off for him throughout his career. So no, it's really positive for him to come and have impact in the game like he did. Obviously, we're frustrated because the goal at the end, there's a multitude of really small things that should have been done better so late on in the game. All those really little bits add up and end up with the ball in the back of our net.
And it's a tough night conditions-wise. There's a storm passing through. Obviously, it's the same for both teams as well. And then the huge delay in that second half too.
Yeah, the amount of games we've had this year that have, gone so far beyond normal time. Yeah, I've never known a season like it. It keeps happening, but I thought the boys kept themselves moving. We sent Mike on to keep them moving, keep them going. Like I say, after that, I felt like we were in the ascendancy. We changed Sam because we felt like the conditions weren't allowing us to play into him as well, because it was the wind when we were clipping into him and just weren't able to be as accurate as what we wanted. So we felt like bringing Richard on to try and add that ball down the sides to us, and I felt like it worked. So yeah, just really, really frustrated and disappointed for our supporters who travelled so far to follow us, and for the boys, who give absolutely everything. They've given everything again today, executed the game plan exactly how we wanted it to go, and we're frustrated we're coming away with nothing.
2 debuts tonight, Gideon Kadua and also Chem Campbell for his second Wycombe Wanderers debut.
Yeah, really pleased for those boys. I mean, Gideon, we've been watching for a little while, and then obviously in the West Ham game against us, he was very, very good, and I thought he showed real bright sparks tonight. There's obviously parts of the gameplay that we need to, tactical element out of possession, that we need to still get in the younger players. But yeah, really pleased for those two to come on and Chemi make his second debut for us. GMAC got a knock to his knee, so we'll have to assess that. But I thought I thought he showed some really bright moments. We think he's going to be a good player for us.
And how do we address these late goals? It was the same question the other week. It's happened again tonight. It was Wigan's best chance of the game. It's come right at the death.
Yeah, well, we're about to do it in the change room now. I think it's the best time is to go for it right now. And we approached it last week and spent some time on it last week. We're going to spend some more time on it now. It's loads of little things. We have to get attached in the box. A couple of our boys are really attached in the box, a couple aren't. So we have to make sure space doesn't score goals. Players do, and I know everyone's making a lot out of it, and we have to make sure we address it, because at the moment, I've just said to the players, it's hurting our league position, it's hurting our points total, and we could be a lot higher than what we are if we would have seen out these moments. So we have to address it, because ultimately it's kind of defining us at the moment. It's the thing that people are talking about. It's the thing that is affecting our league position, because for the majority of the games we're playing in, we're right in the game. And again tonight, we've come away to a good team and been right in the ascendancy at the end of the game. So we have to make sure that these moments actually pay us in our league position and our points total, because at the moment it's hurting us.
Are the fine margins frustrating, or do you take a positive that we're not far away from taking the points in games like this?
I think anyone who watches us knows we're not far away. If you look at the games that have gone against us late on, Port Vale, we should see that out. Lincoln, we should see that out. The 2 fouls at Portsmouth and Barnsley, we've had apologies for them. They should be more points on our total. We've had an apology for the amount of added time against Lincoln. The game should be blown up. 4 opportunities we've got to blow up full time. It doesn't. Ball ends in our net, but we have to make sure that we look like we can be there all night and defend those moments. That's how we have to be. It's up to us to be the best we can be, and yeah, unfortunately it's gone against us, but it's not unfortunate. We have to make sure we're better.
Yeah, hearing the manager there sounding quite despondent, and you could tell as well from your questions that this was much covered last week as well, and obviously really something that needs to be looked at in terms of conceding goals and late on and not scoring more goals obviously as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear what he said, that it's a pattern of small minor things in succession. The conceding of the free kick, and then the cross cut is come in, and then there's no one really that tight to the guy at the back post. It's fine margins, but fans are quite rightly frustrated by it, and that's where we are. But the fine margins element for me is Richard Kone if he scores. I think it was 20 minutes plus 12 possibly. Still a long way to go from that point, obviously, because the amount of time that was added on. But we talked during the game as well about whoever was going to be the most clinical on the night was going to win it, because there was going to be very, very few chances because of the conditions, and it was completely borne out that way. And you have to give credit to the Wigan keeper for the save. The ball bounces back out to Kone and it hits him rather than him knowing where it was coming, and it sort of does the speed of it, and it then agonisingly dropped the other side of the post, and that was the fine margins in that situation. But you can't bemoan luck. When it's happened so many times, it has to be addressed and looked at thoroughly to make sure that things change.
I'm partly asking because you really don't get the opportunity to use this expression very much, but did you find that Mr. Tickle wasn't really tested enough?
I think it was very tough on the night, like I said, with the conditions. But, it's neither team. Matt Strick didn't have a huge amount to do either. So I think it was a game where the weather dominated. And, Mr. Tickle had probably one of his more comfortable games in terms of shot stopping. But when called upon, and alert as he was, because even though it was in the 12th minute of injury time, the players were out on the pitch during that long wait for the referee to change over to bring the fourth official on. So it's about keeping yourself alert and ready for when you need it, and wherever you are on the pitch. And as a goalkeeper, that's no different. And then he was, so credit to Wigan for that. And it was their third consecutive home win. And they're grinding them out up there. And Wigan need to look at that and think, we need to be doing this too.
Is it just literally a case of trying to get more goals in games, because then it wouldn't matter so much as to what's conceded late on, really?
That would help, obviously. Yeah, it would be much more helpful and take the pressure off. That's the other thing as well, is Wycombe aren't losing when they are losing. They're not losing by 3 or 4. These are tight games. These are coming down to key individual moments in penalty areas. So, like I say, I think that the overall performance merited a point on the road in tricky conditions, but it didn't come out that way. So, I think, it's just both boxes, which is an obvious thing to say in football. But it needs to change, and it needs to change quickly.
Listening to the manager, he feels encouraged that chances are being created, and there are signs, and the players are working so hard as well.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who, with the opinions that are being shared online, and that's what football's all about, I don't think anyone can accuse the players of not putting in the effort for the manager at this stage. And, people are working very hard to try and change this. But, it was weird that the stats situation coming into the game in terms of the run of results. 1 win in 15, which is now 1 win in 16. Before last night, it was 1 defeat in 7 in the league, which again goes back to the tightness of this situation. And, like you say, if you add some more goals into that scenario, then that stat improves rapidly and very quickly, because we're not shipping huge amounts of goals either. So, I think you have to take the positives from that. Otherwise, you drive yourself mad and think this is where we need to keep going in that direction, and hopefully the results will turn.
And something we can take encouragement from, hopefully, is the next visitors to Adams Park, of course, the bottom team in the table. Well,
yes, with a new manager who took on quite a desperate situation, but they've probably been a bit unlucky in some of their games that they've had too. Charlie Adam will be coming down to Adams Park, and we'll probably detect there's a lack of confidence, and we'll look at it as an opportunity. And Wycombe Wanderers need to look at this as an opportunity to get a much needed win on the board. And it was back in early October where Wycombe took Fleetwood apart, and it seems like an incredibly long time ago now. A lot of time and a lot of games has happened since then, and there's not been a lot of wins for Wycombe Wanderers since then. So Wycombe will need to really take the game to Fleetwood, I think, at home, get an early goal, get on the front foot, settle down, and hopefully use that as a platform to build some confidence. Fleetwood, like I say, will be coming to it, looking at Wycombe's situation and thinking, right, is there something we can exploit here? They'll have Harry Boys in the squad, who spent the first half of the season at Wycombe. But Wycombe have Josh Scowen back. His last game suspended was at Wigan. It would have been at Port Vale had that taken place, but that was obviously postponed. So Josh Scowen will be back in the team, and I think that's a huge boost. He's our best player, quite simply. So that's going to be a big boost, and hopefully could settle things down and hopefully see Wycombe Wanderers to get an important 3 points on Saturday.
And obviously from the games that you've seen, nearly all of them, are there particular things that you think need to change, or is it just a case of the way things are and just more things going for the team, really?
I think since we've gone to a back four, I think we've looked a lot more solid as a team, and at times that's come at the cost of maybe some attacking prowess. But I think with what we've seen with Sadlier on the left and Gareth McCleary, and we've added sort of some pace and legs as well, options in the squad with Chem Campbell and Gideon Kadua. I think Gideon Kadua looked quite bright when he came on as well. So I think, with Richard Kone, we must mention too. So there's been a big change up top, and there's a change in style and approach. So yeah, I think we can see where things are moving. I think the fans were sort of very keen on moving to a back four, and that's been done. It's made improvements, I think, in terms of looking more solid. And it's now just a case of converting the chances they are. Because if we look a bit further back from the Lincoln game, maybe that first hour of the game, and it's again going back to the point you made earlier on, had we been more than one goal in front, we'd be talking about a very different result and not worrying about the conceding of a late goal, because we created enough in that game to be more than one goal ahead, and the first hour of the performance was really, really very good. But people only look at results, and it's a results business, and they'll look back at that and they'll see it as a draw instead. So yeah, it's about being more clinical, but the chances were created that day, and you have to again take positives from that, but you also have to take the lesson that we need to be more clinical in front of goal.
And something else really positive to come from the team sheet as well was the inclusion of Jason McCarthy, of course. Great to hear his name back in contention.
Yeah, and look, he's a big character. I think at times like this, you learn a lot about people. And Jason McCarthy is somebody who loves the club, who's been around the club for a long time, and has been very unfortunate with his injuries and the nature of them, and the need for an operation and recovery. And it's great to see him back in the squad. He's a big voice in the dressing room, and he'll be needed at times like this. And it's great that he can be back and involved in the matchday squad. And no doubt we'll be seeing him on the pitch at some point soon too. You
get a feeling, don't you, playing a team who are on the bottom and not doing so well, although conversely it might be a bad time to face them. But you really feel that that things are on the turn soon. Yeah, look, when you're on a poor run of form yourself as well, it's about just making sure that the result is the right one on the Saturday. And yes, and after this, we've got some really big games coming up against teams at the top end of the table too. But look, League One is incredibly competitive. It's very tight. This is the great thing about English football is that teams at the bottom can beat teams at the top, and vice versa. So Wycombe will be aware of that coming into Saturday's game against Fleetwood, but they'll know the importance of this game. Absolutely, and hopefully we can be talking about 3 points this time next week, Colin. Great to chat to you as always, and enjoy the game on Saturday. Cheers, Colin. Thank you. Real pleasure to chat to Phil. I think we've cracked it, haven't we? Score more, concede less. There we go. That's what's needed. Phil will be describing the whole match live, of course, on Wycombe Sound on 106.6 in the Wycombe area, and on Wanderers TV, where you can hear more of that post-match chat with the manager, Matt Bloomfield, as well. Also this week, Wycombe Wanderers have withdrawn from this season's Bucks and Bucks Senior Cup. It's due to a congested schedule in both League One and the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, something which has been a controversial decision with the fans as well. At the time of being required to make the decision, the club say they would not be able to commit to fulfilling potentially 3 fixtures in the competition, alongside the possibility of playing 2 further games in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy after next week's quarter-final against Brighton and Hove Albion's under-21s. The club has also had to schedule a new date for last weekend's postponed league fixture with Port Vale, and could be required to move the league fixture at Cambridge United, which falls on an international weekend, and the home game with Derby County, which is due to take place on the weekend of the trophy final, both of which would become midweek fixtures. Wanderers currently have 4 players out on loan. They're Laurie Sharler, Taylor Clark, Declan Skura and Damani Mellor, with the potential of more development squad players departing on loan this month, each of whom would be likely or certain to miss the Bucks and Bucks Senior Cup fixture due to commitments with their loan clubs. With no academy or designated under-21 teams, the club would be unable to field a team that is in keeping with the integrity of and respectful to the competition. Wycombe Wanderers have a long-held proud association with the Bucks and Bucks Senior Club, the club say, and looks forward to participating in the competition again in future. In the meantime, it thanks the Bucks and Bucks FA for its understanding and cooperation, and wishes the participants every success for this year's tournament. Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound. Second part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show still to come. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield once again, looking ahead to the visit of Fleetwood. Thank you. I was going to say Port Vale, that's happened. Well, it hasn't happened, it's frozen off. Also coming up, we'll chat to Kine Andersen from Wycombe Wanderers Women.
Fleetwood.
Thank you. It's like in the school play when someone's to the side of the stage following the script for you and then just saying, say this.
This show's scripted?
No, it's not. You can tell, can't you? Also, we'll hear from Kine Andersen from Wycombe Wanderers Women as well. But first, thanks to Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, we'll take you back to a time when things were better. In the 60s, you could buy a house for £3,000. Probably not around here, admittedly. And also, Wycombe Wanderers had a number of teams, including the youth team, who I'm very pleased to say our guest this evening, Peter Sewell, played for and also worked his way up to the senior team. Thank you so much indeed for speaking to us. It's interesting, isn't it, that we were talking a little earlier on about Wycombe withdrawing from the Bucks and Bucks Cup, but obviously in your day they had a number of teams.
Well, yeah, I remember playing in the final at Maidenhead against Windsor and Eton, and we won 2-1.
And it must be such a sort of proud time for you as well, playing for what at the time was your local club.
Well, it was, yes, yeah, very proud really. I mean, I went to Marlow for a little while, then I was recommended to go to Wycombe by John Fisher, the ex-Wycombe player. Do you remember?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, he recommended me to go to Wycombe, so he actually took me to Wycombe.
So, what would you say is your earliest memory of your time at the club?
Well, playing in the youth team, definitely. That was really a highlight because there was, I think, 7 of the team came from Terriers under 16s, under 18s, which I played for. And, it's very good. Graham Adams was the first manager.
And there was real sort of prestige, wasn't there, about playing for the first team and obviously the reserves and, that's let alone even getting to the seniors.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, even the reserves were very good. I played in the reserves for quite a while before I got to the senior. But, really, had some really good players there.
And I guess as well, you got to play and get to know some fantastic teammates as well.
Well, I did. I mean, I had the honour of playing with Paul Bates, Len Worley, Tony Alsman, Dave Thomas, Charlie Gale, and, of course, John Matskell.
And I guess you would have known at that time, but some of those players that you mentioned went on to be, sort of legendary figures at the club.
That's right, yeah, I did, yeah. It was a great pleasure playing with them.
And we sort of joked, it's obviously a different time and the game was very different to what it is now, but what do you remember about the kind of conditions that you played in?
Conditions were terrible. I mean, some of the pitches were just mud. I remember going to Clapton in the Isthmian League. Their ground was called the Spotted Dog, and the actual pitch was terrible. It's just mud.
Oh, it's a fantastic ground name, at least. You could imagine saying, I'm going down the Spotted Dog this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there were some funny grounds then. Really funny. I mean, you had Walthamstow Avenue playing in Cold Blow Lane or something like that.
That sounds quite sinister.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But there were some good teams, even the reserve section. They were sort of the reserves of the first team Isthmian League. So all the reserves all the first team had a reserve side. So we went to, some good grounds as well. And
even the reserves had great support, didn't they? And, decent crowds.
Yeah, especially at home. Yeah, we had a good support at home. Yeah, definitely.
And obviously the club was run very differently, and I'm sure obviously many of you had sort of day jobs. How did you balance work with playing as well?
Well, we used to train twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and that was it really until we played on a Saturday. We might have a midweek game, but that was about it really. So not like today where they're sort of on nutritionists and all this sort of thing. We had nothing like that.
I was going to say, I'm sure your pre-match preparations were very different.
Very different, yeah. It's warming up was running on the spot in the dressing room.
Hey, if it worked, though, that's fantastic.
Well, yeah, it did, yeah.
And are there any particular games that really stand out, either with the junior team or the reserves or the seniors?
Reserves. Well, the reserves when we play. I love playing at Dudley Hamlet, and we had a good team then. We won. I think we won 2-0 there at Dudley Hamlet, which was very good. And my first game for the senior side was against Ilford at Lokes Park, but we lost 3-2 that day.
And I guess you came up with the varying standards of opposition as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean the Wimbledon side had Irish internationals playing for them, like Eddie Reynolds, a big centre forward, And Walthamstow Avenue had Jim Lewis, another England international. So they were quite good, decent players.
And was it great being involved in the club at that time? Because as you say, some of those names of those players who were there at that time, went on to do so well for Wycombe.
They did, yes. Oh, it was, just a pleasure playing with them. They helped me a lot, actually. They really helped me because I was only 18. So they were really helpful for me.
I was going to say, it must have been great being a young player, at that level, at that stage in your sort of career as well, and really those players helping with your development.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, helped me a lot, really a lot.
And of course, you're still in touch with many of those players today, which, as we've spoken to many an ex-player, it's quite special, isn't it, about football that, your shared experiences in the dressing room and on the pitch.
That's right, yeah, it's nice to keep in touch with them, yeah. Yeah, so, nice to keep in touch and see how they're doing and everything, but yeah.
And you're a founder member of the ex-players, of course.
Of course, yes, yeah. Yeah, that was very good, yeah.
And that's really gone from strength to strength, hasn't it? With obviously the dinners, which I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple of, and the bowls and the quiz. And it's really and golf days. It's really nice that you can all get together.
Oh yeah, bowls and golf days and quizzes and yeah, it's very good. They are very good. It's a good club. Always has been.
I was going to say it's great to get your thoughts on what you think is so special about it, and the sort of the longevity of ex-players and how they they're all quite similar in character, aren't they? They've all got that sort of thing in common.
Yes, oh yeah. As I say, it was great to play with those sort of players.
And I guess it's fantastic to remember what the various kind of times that you're at the club. As you say, the early '60s. It feels like a long time ago saying it like that, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does. Yeah, I mean, I'll be 80 this year, so it does. It's a long time ago.
But still, really fresh memories, I'm sure.
Oh yes, yeah. I'll never forget the memories at Wycombe. No, never.
And the longer shorts, of course.
Oh, longer shorts and different boots these days. No, I mean, that's carpet slippers these days, aren't they?
No, absolutely, very light. And that's great for you as well, though, to be able to share those memories with your family or even people who just go to the games today and really don't appreciate what it used to be like.
That's right, yeah. I mean, the balls and that were totally different. They were like heavy lead balls. There was none of these lightweight balls. I could never kick a ball from one area to another because you'd never reach it.
And did you really notice at the time, that the real development of the club and the sort of progress that it was making?
Yeah, I thought they'd be going places, especially when Brian Lee came in. They seemed to change it at all.
I was going to say, you must have played under some different sort of style managers as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sid Can was there for a little while when I was there, but then it was Graham Adams and then Don Welsh.
And
the ex-Charlton player.
No, absolutely. And they must have brought in, their own kind of styles and their own players as well.
Styles, yes, yeah, totally different, yeah. And then Barry Darville was for a little while as a manager.
And did it really feel like, as I say, a kind of golden time? Because you speak to different ex-players and it feels like their sort of generation was especially, their sort of decade was really special.
Oh, yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, I went back to Marlow then, but I'll never forget playing for Wycombe.
And
anybody asks me, I say, I used to play for Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah, even, as I say, even in sort of the youth team and working your way up, because in a way, it feels extra special whatever level you played at for the club. That's
right, yeah, really good. So, I feel very proud, really.
And what would you say are the best things about, kind of, as I say, the sort of teammates that you've kept in touch with ever since, and really fantastic that you've had those times at the club? Yeah,
I mean, I get in touch with John Cooper, and a few others. Some I've lost all contact with, but some I still, can still talk to or know them.
And so nice to obviously reflect on your time, as you say, all these years later.
Yes, yeah, good, very good.
And you still watch out for their results today, I'm sure?
I do. A bit disappointed at the moment, but I do watch for the results.
Because I guess you could have never imagined that they'd be at a League One side or even in the Championship.
No, I didn't. I mean, they got to the conference. Well, it's the Conference League then, wasn't it, from where they got promotion?
That's right.
Yeah. So I remember, I never thought they'd get in the Football League, but there you go. Do you feel like a real kind of part of the foundations as to where the team is now? Yeah, I feel, I was there sort of in the 60s, right at the beginning, really. I mean, they were good before that, weren't they, with the Amateur Cup final?
57, yeah, no, absolutely.
I think it was.
Yes. That was only a short time before, of course.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I remember some of those, yes. Because when I was at Marlow, it was Jimmy Mooring was the manager there, the ex-Wycombe player.
Yes.
He went to Marlow as a manager.
It's great, isn't it, in those days when, local players played for their local teams as well. You don't get that so much these days.
No. They travel all over the place, don't they? They come from everywhere.
And great that you were able to play for other local clubs too.
Yeah, when I was there, it was all local lads.
It really adds to it, doesn't it?
One of the furthest coming from Marlow.
And tell us what you're doing these days. Obviously, you're based over in Cambridgeshire now.
I am, yes. No, I don't. I used to be I used to do academy scouting for West Ham, but I gave that up because it was just too much of getting around, really.
But it's great to be able to chat to you and to share your memories. And thank you so much indeed for your time.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, then.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Peter Sewell speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound, played for the youth team and also made senior appearances as well in the early 60s. Great to catch up with him, and big thanks to the Ex-Players Association as well. Still to come, we'll be chatting to Kine Andersen from Wycombe Wanderers Women. We've got more club news as well. Plus, we mentioned earlier on, didn't we, that it's the reason that we opened with Jack.
Yes, all to be possibly revealed unless you've been on social media today.
And we've got some news of seating news.
We have seating news and green news.
This is very exciting. All that and more to come in the final part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll chat sustainability strategy. I know. Benches. Well, a bench anyway. No, benches.
Benches?
Yeah. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield too, among other things, covering the departure of TJ DeBar this week. I know, we'll miss TJ.
I like TJ. I like them all, but, TJ was always... He's a very pleasant human being.
Yes.
Just lovely. Always come and say hello first thing in the morning. Check you're okay. Yeah.
That's lovely insight.
Thank you.
Anyway, next, we chat, big thanks to Wycombe Wanderers Women, to a midfielder who is studying to be a physiotherapist.
Hold on.
Thank you. What was saying that?
You got it wrong earlier.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
Kine Andersen was, lots to chat to her about.
I really enjoyed playing for Wycombe last season, so it was I didn't have to think twice about re-signing for this year. Obviously, I had, in the beginning of the season, I unfortunately ruptured my meniscus in September. So that kept me from playing in the beginning of the season. But now I'm better and, I'm playing again.
Was that really hard? Because it must have been quite frustrating not to be able to play when you really wanted to, especially at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and also this is not my first time rupturing my meniscus, so it's really frustrating happening over and over again. And I felt like I had really settled into the team, and we had really developed into a good, solid team. And then all of a sudden I get this injury and then, can't play for a while. So that was really frustrating, yeah.
It must be really difficult because you just get into a rhythm, don't you, of playing games and things are going really well. And then I guess it's sort of part of the game, really, but it must be hard to kind of, to really interrupt your rhythm.
Yeah. And then I feel like you have to start from scratch again, and you have to, because obviously I was out for a month or two, and then you have to do all the rehab, and it really takes a toll on you because all I want to do is play and be with my teammates. So, yeah.
I was going to say, it must be so tough not being part of the team as well.
Yeah, especially when I've got a lot of new friends and everyone is so friendly and nice. So, but it helped a lot. I watched a lot of the games, and I sometimes went to watch training, which has helped me a lot because then I don't feel so alone.
So what would you say have been some of the highlights of your season so far?
No, at this point, I'm just happy to be back training. But I feel like we've done really good so far. Obviously, we had the loss this Sunday, which was not very nice. It's very frustrating, but it was just one of these days where it felt like luck weren't on our side. We just couldn't score. But I feel like we've developed and we have not lost as many games as we did last season. So that's good, and that's a progression. So really happy with that.
I was going to say, do you really notice the progress both in your own game but in the team as a whole as well as the season goes on?
Yeah, I feel like we continue to grow and like we've developed. We know more like, yeah, we know each other better. So it's easier to play with each other, but there's still stuff to work on.
And do you have a favoured position yourself? Because I know you can often be found either in the middle or out on the left as well.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, in the middle. That's where I feel I can do my best job because I don't know if Carl agrees, but I don't know if I have the pace. And I know that other players have more pace than me. And I really like to just sit in and just give everyone else the balls and play the passes through. And yeah.
Because we were speaking before, there was an interview over the weekend with Gura Wrighton of Chelsea, and she's someone who obviously is from Norway as well and plays in a very similar position to yourself too.
Yeah. She's a really inspiring woman, yeah. I remember when I lived in Norway and hadn't moved to England yet, she was playing in the top division in Norway, and I remember I used to always watch the games and think, oh, she's really good, she's going to get places, and obviously she made it over here and got signed. So yeah, big inspiration.
Because is women's football in Norway as popular or in growing in popularity as, for example, the WSL has been here and people's interest in the Lionesses too? Yeah,
I would say the interest is growing, but it's not quite at that level yet because you have, I would say, the different levels are, they've done a couple of changes to try and make it more competitive, but there's also a very clear difference from the leagues. So it would be very hard to get postponed into the next league because the level is so high.
And do you feel really proud as well that you've been able to settle, over here, combining your studies with playing for Wycombe as well?
Yeah, that was a thing that was very important to me when I moved here, so that it's kind of my place to disconnect and just have fun. Also a great way of getting new friends. Obviously, moving to a country with no connections and no friends, it was really important to me. And yeah, Wycombe has given me a lot of new friends and everyone is very friendly. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
And what's it like for you combining your studies with football? It must be nice in a way to have that distraction, if you like.
Yeah, it's helped me a lot because it's like where it's my free space and I don't think about studying at all. But also, as I'm studying physiotherapy, it also helps me that I get close to players. I learn a lot from, obviously, the physio that we have at Wycombe. She is brilliant, and I learn a lot from them. So, yeah, in a way, I get to disconnect, but also it helps me a lot with my actual education as well, yeah.
So if people see you on the pitch with a notebook or a voice recorder that you're taking notes, that people will know why.
Yeah.
and obviously we were talking to you at a very important time because you're doing your dissertation, which has got to be in quite soon. That must be really interesting though, with the subject that you're doing, but also playing football as well.
So yeah, I'm doing my dissertation on returning to sport after ACL injuries. So and obviously ACL injuries are more prevalent in women footballers. So yeah, it's a very relevant topic.
So what would you like to achieve in the remainder of the season with Wycombe?
Obviously, we have a cup game coming up this Sunday, so I hope that we can get the win. We're playing Eastleigh again, and I know that we could win. We just have to take our chances and build on the last game that we have this Sunday. Yeah, so I hope we can get further in the cup and also continue winning. And yeah, because everyone is putting in 100% and everyone is putting in a lot of effort, but sometimes it just doesn't go our way. So yeah, hopefully we can get some wins.
And do you set yourself personal goals as well? That's not supposed to be a pun. Maybe goals is one of your goals.
Yeah, I would like to score more goals. I've had a couple of chances. Carl has put me a bit further up the pitch now, the last game. So I hope it's coming. Yeah, I've had a couple of chances, but I just need to work on my finishing. So yeah, we'd love to score some more goals for Wycombe, yeah.
Especially this weekend, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Does it really help in a way because you're playing a team who you've only just faced, so you can know what to expect as well?
Yeah, I think it was just so frustrating because everyone was playing so well. The ball just didn't want to go in. So we we were really, everyone was just working so hard and we prepared well. But yeah, so I think we just have to learn from that, go again and play like we did, but we need to utilize our chances better.
No, that's fantastic. And obviously your English is excellent, but it'd be really great if you could perhaps teach us some Norwegian as well, perhaps a phrase or something football related that we can use as well.
Yeah, I would say gi alt, which means give everything.
Fantastic. That was easy as well. We could all use that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, it's been brilliant to speak to you and wish you all the best for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me back. And yeah, hopefully we get some more wins. It was nice speaking to you.
Great chatting to you, Kine. Ye out.
Ye out. What does it mean?
Give everything.
Give everything.
We can use that in future programmes.
I was going to shout it at people.
Ye out.
Ye out.
Well, it just sounds like get out. The way
It does a bit, yeah, sorry.
But fantastic to speak to Kine, and fantastic that, I think it's hard to, really appreciate, but you can't, what am I trying to say?
Use your words, Colin.
Forget. Remember that English is a second language.
I know, and I keep saying this. I've mentioned it on the Ringing the Blues post-match show, which is back on Saturday.
Ooh.
Just to let you know. How much of a family and togetherness the chair girls seem to have.
No, absolutely.
This season. It's been great to hear from all of them throughout the season and look forward to hearing from more of them.
Here. That was me clapping, by the way, that noise. It's
Well done. Thank you.
very tame clapping.
And good luck to them this weekend.
Absolutely. In the Cup against Eastleigh, a team they played very recently as well.
Yeah, they seem to do that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a small league.
Yeah.
So
It's a small world.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pleased to announce the return of the notice board section, which didn't really get much of a look in last week. It's very high tech, our notice board section.
It is, yeah.
Computers one day. What can you
they
bring?
make a really good sound effect, though, doesn't it?
No, not really.
No.
What can you bring us?
Well, let's start with the news that Wycombe Wanderers have achieved bronze in the EFL's Equality Code of Practice. They are pleased to announce. That was
Proper clapping,
that was good. That was announced earlier on this afternoon. Well done to them. The club, if you didn't know, offers a multi-faith room on the Caledonian Suite on match days and weekdays for players, supporters and guests of any faith and any religion. Also, supporters with impaired vision, Colin, can collect a radio headset to listen to live commentary.
I should do that.
You should do that.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, there you go. You get listen to Phil.
What's his name?
Whoever that
commentary
bloke
bloke.
is. Yeah. So that is some good news. Would you like some more good news?
Yes, please.
Okay. Think David Attenborough. Because Wycombe Wanderers, do you like it?
I do like it.
Yeah, I struggled to think what we were going to use.
Yeah.
Wycombe Wanderers this week, ahead of Green Football.
It's quite relaxing, isn't
It's
it?
nice, isn't it? Green Football Weekend have launched, along with the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation.
That's next weekend, isn't it? Green Football Weekend?
No, this weekend.
Oh, was it?
Yes, that's
Oh,
why they've
apologies.
launched it, Colin. They've launched their sustainability strategy.
Ooh.
Thank you. Would you like some of the headline topics?
Please,
bits?
yeah.
Because I think it's about 12 pages long. You can read it on the Wycombe Wanderers website. The club are proud to be home of the PFA's first ever sustainability champion, David Wheeler. Very nice. They are committed to reducing their carbon footprint. They pledge to become carbon neutral by 2030. So that's only 6 years.
Thank you.
They commit to reducing emissions from energy and utilities, reducing environmental impact from transport as well. It's very distracting. They also, it's gone now. They commit to removing all single-use plastic products by the close of 2024. Zero to landfill policy. Everything that can be recycled is something that you may have heard quite a lot about this year. Is the waterless urinals from Whiffaway save 7.5 million litres of water each year.
That is a lot of water.
That's quite. I didn't realise it was that, but that was quite impressive.
Just at Adams Park alone.
Just at Adams Park alone.
Wow.
It's impressive, isn't it? They've installed electric vehicle chargers at Adams Park and Marlow Road. A lot of the team also have electric cars as well now. Some numbers for you, because we love a bit of data. 31.9% of the club's energy is provided by renewable sources. 80% of the fluorescent lighting around the stadium has been replaced by LED lighting in the past 2 years. Also, new LEDs on the stadium this week. They're really good. I may have had something to do with them. And the digital ticketing reduces paper consumption with more than 98% of tickets being issued digitally.
That is good news.
Those are the headlines. Would you like some breaking news?
Yes, please.
Environment news.
Ooh. Play beauty on again. So breaking news. we should be shuffling some paper at this
the
time.
latest. ALSA, also known as the Official Wycombe Wanderers Supporters Association, have funded and assembled 5 pub-style benches for the Chairboys Village at Adams Park.
And assembled?
And assembled, yeah.
Oh, mere men couldn't do this sort of thing.
They are really nice. They're also made out of recycled plastic.
Ooh.
They're really heavy, so they won't fly away in whatever the next storm is. And they're ready to use on Saturday, and you'll find out more about them on Pre-Match Drills, which will be out later.
This is great news, because otherwise, if you just turn up to the game and you just see some benches, you think, oh, look, new benches.
What are those? And they're in light blue and dark blue as well.
The story behind the benches.
Yeah, it's very good. Well done to ALSA. Well done to the club for their environment strategy. And well done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great news. Thank you very much. Also, we're celebrating today. It's Burns Night.
It is.
But it's not just Burns Night.
No, because the most Scottish man ever, Jack Grimmer...
Jack, the Snacks Grimmer.
Also celebrates his birthday.
That's a huge thank you to the sound effects department who's really working overtime on this week's show. No expense spent on this at all.
Really none. Happy birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday. Friend of the show, Jack Grimmer, celebrating his birthday on...
He's never coming back.
After he's heard that.
After that, he's never coming back, yeah.
Burns Night. Great night to be a Scottish person having a birthday, though.
I feel like he score this time last year? Because I remember there was an interview.
Yes, that does ring a bell.
And it was his birthday, it was Burns Night, or the night before, or night after, and it was like, yeah.
Neeps and tatties.
Yes. They were talking about something else in the training ground today. There was something else Scottish related, like a Scottish croissant, I think.
All right.
Something like that. Sorry, Jack, if that wasn't it. But
this show's become very cultural, hasn't it?
It has, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Jack. Yeah, if you'd like us to wish you a happy birthday on the show and play you some awful music.
Wherever you're from, we'll play it, yeah. What's for Downley? Because it's my birthday in 5 days, so I don't know. Yeah. Cars revving?
Yeah, bins falling over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
We're doing satire now. Yeah. Let's now, though, catch up with our annual weekly... Well, it's every year. Has been for the past 3 years. Catch up with manager Matt Bloomfield, who, if you were listening on Tuesday night, or indeed if you were listening to the post-match interview that Phil did with him, was talking about the fact that straight after the game at Wigan, he was heading into the change rooms to chat through how they can best improve not conceding late goals.
I felt like it was the right time and very important that we addressed the goal straight away. The players were very good. We discussed it, we looked at it. There's loads of little bits that we could have done better. And we have to make sure we do that going forward because, as I said after the game, unfortunately at this moment in time, the late goals are defining our season, they're defining everything we're discussing. Everything that I get asked about is only ever around that, and I have to make sure that we address that and stop that because there's so many good things that are going on around the club and around the team and around the squad. Unfortunately, they're getting missed at the moment, so it's my job to correct that.
I'm guessing it doesn't help then, does it, when people want to talk about it? But obviously it's dominating things, as you say, but the more it's in the air, the more people think about it, I guess.
Absolutely, of course, and it's only natural that it is because it's the topic at the moment and it's the thing that's affecting our points total, it's the thing that's affecting our league position, so we have to correct it. I'm not shying away from that. That's my responsibility to make sure we're as organised and as calm as we can in those moments. Unfortunately, it's gone against us, but we take responsibility for that. We have to get better at it, we have to correct it because like I say, it's defining our season at the moment. It's the thing that we're all talking about, but we can't talk about it too much because you don't want it then to be in the minds. We have to make sure we're ready to go because there's a good game on Saturday that we want to play well in, we want to perform well, we want to attack, we want to give our supporters plenty to cheer about, but ultimately, yeah, of course I'm going to get asked about it because it's the thing that's defining us at the moment.
Fleetwood, the opponents on Saturday, they've had a troubled season off the pitch, on the pitch. We're on to their third manager. It's a great opportunity for Wycombe at Adams Park in front of our fans to get a win on the board.
We feel like we've been playing pretty well at home recently. I think we've had some good days. Adams Park, again, been affected by those late goals with Port Vale and Lincoln. I think it could have been even better the way we've been playing, but we have to make sure that we focus on the way we're going to go, get the energy back from the trip to we're going to be ready to go because it's important afternoon for us. It's important that we play well. It's important we try and pick up some points because we don't want to be our season to be reflected by what's been and gone. We need to make sure we affect the future and make sure we're better.
And the attacking third obviously would take the pressure off the defensive third going into the closing stages of the game if Wycombe are more clinical in this game.
Yeah, I think that, the amount of chances, again, we've gone to Wigan and had more shots than the hosts. We've had the better of the opportunities. So we have to keep focusing on that and creating the chances. I'm not going to sit and criticise anyone. I'm not going to dig anyone out. It's not my style. It's not the way I am. We've discussed it internally. We look at everything part of our play. It's we win and lose as a group. That's why we went through the goal as a team. There's things right at the top of the pitch we could have done better, and there's things all the way down to the moment the ball goes in the net, and it's the same for all of it. The way we build and create in our play, the way we do our set pieces. It's a whole group effort. It's a whole team effort. It's a whole squad effort. So, yeah, we have to make sure that we're better.
And then next Wednesday, it's eyes on the Bristol Street Motors Cup, 2 games from Wembley. A Wednesday night fixture, a bit unusual for Wycombe. It's normally a Tuesday night, but it's been moved because the Brighton first team are playing on the Tuesday night. But how are you approaching that game? Obviously in between 2 very important league games, but just 2 games from Wembley.
Yeah, we're obviously extremely disappointed that the EFL moved the game because we wanted to play on the Tuesday. So it kind of affects our preparation for the Cheltenham game. But listen, mate, we've got a squad that we believe in. We've got 3 really exciting games to look forward to next week. But we have to take care of the first one, Fleetwood being first, and then once we do that, we can look forward to the Brighton game with excitement. Because it's the quarter-final of a cup competition. We're really excited and pleased to still be in the competition. So we want to make sure we get our week off to a good start on Saturday, and if we can do that and perform well, then hopefully we can move on to Brighton with confidence and optimism.
One player that won't be involved in this upcoming run of games, TJ DeBar, has left the club, gone back to Gibraltar. Your thoughts on TJ? Yeah,
I love TJ. I think he's a great lad, a real good lad. I feel really frustrated for him that he didn't play more when he was here. I totally understand his frustration at that, and this opportunity was a very good one for him, which we discussed with honesty and like adults, and we felt all parties felt that it was the right opportunity for him to return home, get regular football, more security around his contract. So he goes with sincerely our best wishes, because we think a lot of TJ. He's a really good person. He worked. There was nothing more he could have done during his time here. The way he worked and the way he conducted himself was top. So yeah, he absolutely goes with mine, and as our football club, with our best wishes.
You can hear more of that chat with Matt Bloomfield and Phil on Wanderers TV, and also as part of pre-match drills, where amongst other things the manager talks about the possibilities of extra money being available for possible January signings with TJ's departure. Really sad to see him go. As you mentioned, such a great character to be around the club. Obviously works so hard as well, and linked to something we were chatting about earlier, my now ex-guitar teacher reported a sighting of him regularly in a cafe in Lane End.
Oh, right. I was wondering where you were going with that. Also, an excellent chef.
Oh.
TJ used to live with a chef.
Really?
I won't say who. Just
excellent insight.
If it's not been mentioned, I don't want to ruin the magic. And I said to the chef, "Oh, you must be really good that you've got TJ." And he said, "No, TJ's a great chef." Oh. And I've actually seen some of his stuff on Instagram, and he is an excellent chef.
Wow!
Constantly made me hungry for food when I
follow TJ's recipes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's really sad. I mean, it was mentioned in that that he didn't have the chances that he wanted. And I wish him all the best in Gibraltar.
No, absolutely, fantastic. He's gone back to Lincoln Imps,
yes,
a club whence he came. And
I have Gibraltar heritage, so
really
up the Gibraltar people.
Gibraltarian.
That's what I was going for. Yeah.
Also, of course, mentioning the change in date of the quarter-final of the Bristol Street Motors, now moved to Wednesday.
Wednesday at 7:00. Yes, which means Ringing the Blues this week is on a Wednesday here on Wycombe Sound.
Another schedule change.
I know, it's all over the place, isn't it? Really, I don't know what's going to happen next week. I'll just be crying and screaming in the corner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably a helpline number.
Probably, yeah. And some other news. Wycombe Wanderers are delighted to invite supporters to attend an evening with Martin O'Neill and Alan Parry at Adams Park. That's on Tuesday, the 20th of February. You can find out all the details on the Wycombe Wanderers website, www.fc.com.
Martin O'Neill, of course, who's the new-ish president of the Wycombe Wanderers Foundation. Mark Gateskill gave us a bit of a tip-off fairly early on that such an event was in the offing.
Yes. I think it was on his contract.
Yeah, no, it should be a very, very good event as well, with some top stories from both men.
Yeah, and we should also, as Wycombe Wanderers put it on Twitter earlier on, raise a glass to Bill Turnbull on what would have been his 68th birthday.
Yes, absolutely. Here's to Bill and the great work that he did for obviously Prostate Cancer UK as well in raising awareness.
Yeah, and happy birthday to Jack again. Did we mention that?
Yes.
We did mention Jack's birthday,
that.
yeah. Did we play anything before it?
Yes, some awful bagpipes.
Right, okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed for listening. Hopefully we'll get 3 points home to Fleetwood on Saturday. Don't forget you can hear the whole match live here on Wycombe Sound and on Wanderers TV as well in the Wycombe area. Or you can also get yourself along to Adams Park as well.
Yeah, and Pre-Match Drills is out right now. It's a good one. It's a bit like the One Show this week.
Enjoy. Ringing the Blues course back next week as well on the temporarily different day of Wednesday.
What day is it?
A midweek edition.
I know. Come on, you Blues!